Leo and the Book of Secrets.
There once was an old man who had 3 sons. Every day the 3 brothers went out hunting together. One evening the old man called them close. His voice trembled as he said, "My children, I want to give you a piece of advice." "What is it, father?" "Tell us," they answered. The old man pointed to a distant mountain and warned them, "After I am gone, do not go hunting on that mountain." The sons promised to obey their father. Time passed. At last the old man died. The 3 brothers were left alone.
Many seasons later, the eldest brother, Marcus, grew restless and proud. He said to his brothers, "Let us go and hunt on that mountain." The youngest, Leon, protested. "Brother, have you forgotten our father's warning?" he asked. He begged them not to go. Marcus would not listen. One day Marcus gathered friends and neighbors and rode to the forbidden mountain to hunt.
When they reached the slope, they saw a rider on a green horse. The rider wore a visor and carried a sword. He rode toward them at terrible speed. Without a word he drew his sword and cut them all down. Then he turned and vanished into the mountain. Evening fell. The 2 younger brothers realized Marcus had not returned. They did not know what to do. The night passed.
The next morning the middle brother, Adrian, said, "Something terrible must have happened. Let us go to the mountain and see." Leon answered, "I will not go. If you go, go alone." Adrian would not listen. He gathered a company and led them up the mountain. When they arrived, they found the hunters dead and scattered. At that moment the green-armored rider appeared again. He rode toward them and slew them as well. Their bodies lay on the ground.
When evening came and Adrian still had not returned, Leon grew pale with worry. He saddled his horse and rode to the mountain. At the foot of the slope he saw the bodies of both of his brothers and of their companions. He stood a moment and then turned back. He went home and hired a carpenter. "Carve me a life-sized wooden figure," he said. The carpenter agreed. Leon took the wooden figure and rode swiftly back to the mountain. Before nightfall he placed the wooden figure beside the dead and hid himself in a shallow ditch.
At dawn the green rider came down the mountain. He saw the wooden figure and recognized it as a dummy. Showing no interest, he rode away. Leon slipped out of his hiding place and followed, keeping to the shadows. They traveled until they reached a narrow pass. The rider whispered a strange word. A seam opened in the rock like a mouth. The rider entered and the crack sealed behind him. A faint light shone ahead. Leon slipped in after him and walked through a long, dark tunnel. At last the rider vanished from view and Leon emerged in another land. Thirst and hunger brought him to his knees.
He found a farmer plowing a field. "Sir, do you have any bread?" Leon called. The farmer motioned to him without speaking. Annoyed, Leon raised his voice. "Are you deaf? I asked if you have any bread." The farmer hurried forward and whispered, "Sir, there are 2 fierce lions in the wood. If you shout they will hear, and they will eat us both." Leon answered, "I am starving. Go home and bring me bread. I will plow your field until you return." The farmer agreed and ran off.
While the farmer was gone, Leon guided the plow and drove the oxen. He urged them loudly. The lions heard and charged. Leon met them with fearless strength. He seized both beasts and bound them in place of the oxen to the plow. Then he let the oxen free to graze and rest.
When the farmer returned and saw the lions, he screamed in terror. From a distance he shouted, "Take your bread and go, I am leaving." Terrified, he ran home and fell ill with shock. Leon made the lions swear a solemn promise. They vowed never to harm another living soul. The lions pledged their oath. Leon then drove the oxen ahead and followed them until they led him to a house he thought belonged to the farmer.
Inside, a woman sat by the hearth. "Mother, do these oxen belong to you?" Leon asked. "Yes," she replied. He noticed a man sleeping under a blanket and asked, "Why is that man asleep?" "He is ill," she answered. Leon asked for a little water. The woman brought him a cup of dirty liquid. "This is not water," Leon said sharply. "There is no good water in our town," she explained. "A monstrous fish blocks our well and chokes the flow. Each week we must give the fish a maiden and the cooked meat of a sacrificial buffalo so it will allow a little water through. Tomorrow the king's own daughter must be given to the fish so our town might have water."
Leon asked to stay the night and begged them to show him the maiden's path in the morning. They agreed. The next day they pointed out the road. On the way he saw a young woman carrying a tray of roasted meat. Tears ran down her face. When she reached him, Leon said kindly, "Daughter, set that meat down so I may eat. In return I will throw myself into the well instead of you." The girl agreed and put the tray down. Leon ate his fill, and then asked to be shown the well.
At the well the monstrous fish raised its head. Leon stood at the edge with his sword. With a single, precise stroke he split the beast in two. The well burst forth like a spring. A great flood flowed and swept through half the town. People ran to tell their king. King Alaric came out, removed his crown, and proclaimed, "Brave man, you shall be king and I will be your counselor. I will give you my daughter in marriage." Leon refused. "I want nothing from you," he said. "I am a stranger in these parts. I only ask to be returned home." King Alaric thought for a moment. Then he said, "Go to a mountain where a legendary phoenix nests in an ancient tree. Sleep at the foot of that tree. When the phoenix comes, no matter what oath it swears, do not awake until it says, 'By my mother's milk and my father's pain, I will grant any wish you have.'" Leon admitted he did not know the way. The king sent a guide to show him.
At the tree the guide pointed out the nest. The phoenix was not there. A black dragon had climbed into the branches. The chicks cried in fear. Leon realized the dragon meant to devour the young birds. He drew his sword and cleaved the dragon in two. He gave half of its meat to the chicks and left the other half for their mother. Then he lay down and slept beneath the tree.
When the phoenix returned and saw a sleeping man, it assumed at first that this was the creature who preyed on its young. It raised a heavy stone to crush him. The chicks cried, "Mother, this young man saved us." They told what had happened. The phoenix ate its portion and folded its great wings over the stranger so he might sleep. After a while it swore, "Young man, wake and tell me your wish, and I will grant it." Leon remained asleep until the phoenix repeated the exact oath King Alaric had described. Then he awoke and told the phoenix his story and his sorrow.
The phoenix said gently, "You cannot easily slay the one who killed your brothers." Leon replied, "Then take me to him so I can avenge their blood. If I cannot, let me die trying." The phoenix answered, "The journey is difficult. Before I can carry you there, you must provide one whole buffalo carcass and 40 skins of water. Bring them and place them in my beak. Then I can lift you to that land." Leon returned to the king. The people prepared the provisions. The phoenix had Leon sit upon one wing. They lashed the supplies to the bird's back.
"When I say water, hand me meat. When I say meat, hand me water," the phoenix instructed. They flew for leagues over mountains and plains. The phoenix consumed all the buffalo meat. When it cried for water, there was no meat left to give. In desperation, Leon cut a small piece of meat from his own thigh and offered it. The bird found it tasteless and knew it was Leon's flesh. The phoenix placed the fragment beneath its tongue.
When they arrived, the phoenix set Leon down. "Walk for me. Let me see how you move," the bird said. The phoenix noticed Leon limped. It moistened the fragment and pressed it against the wound on Leon's thigh. The wound healed at once. The phoenix plucked several golden feathers and gave them to him. "If you are ever in peril, burn one of these and I will come at once," it said. Then the phoenix flew back to its nest.
Leon walked until he reached a lonely fortress. He suspected the man who had killed his brothers lived there. He circled the walls and found no entrance. He flung his lasso over the battlements, climbed in, and searched the empty halls. Hiding behind a heavy chest, he watched a green-armored rider glide into the fortress and begin to eat. Leon thought, "If I throw my sword I may miss. If I leap on his back I may not be strong enough." Steeling himself, he sprang and seized the rider by the throat. They struggled until Leon began to tire. He summoned his last strength and cried out. A great force surged through him. He threw the rider to the floor and drew his sword.
At that moment he lifted the visor. Beneath it was not a man but a woman. She said, "Leon, I know you have come for vengeance. I killed your brothers, but do not slay me. I was charged to guard the boundary of the faerie realm, and to stop those who would invade it." Her voice was steady. "I will not flee," she added. "Instead, I swear to be your wife." In that instant the fierce hatred in Leon's heart softened. He felt love and mercy sweep over him. He spared her. He demanded an oath. Soon after they were wed. The fairy maiden and Leon loved each other with full hearts.
Time passed. One day the fairy wife told him, "I have an enemy who loves me, although I never returned his heart. He is a powerful demon named Morris. Now that I am bound to a mortal, I fear he will try to take me." From that day Leon never left her alone. They lived safely for a long while. Then, one afternoon while Leon slept and his wife combed her hair by the pond, a great demon swooped down like an eagle. The demon seized her and carried her away.
When Leon woke and found her gone, he was frantic. He burned one of the phoenix's feathers. The phoenix appeared. "I cannot bring her back by force," the bird said. Leon answered, "Even if she is buried beneath the earth, I will take her from him." The phoenix, moved by his resolve, pointed to a sea. "Go to the water's edge and find the great stone there," it said. "Speak to it. If it answers yes, ask for the 8-legged horse. If it answers, take the 6-legged horse. Accept only what it offers."
Leon did as he was told. At the rock he implored, "O stone, I want the 8-legged horse." The stone answered, "The 8-legged horse is not ready. Take the 6-legged horse." Leon took the 6-legged mount and rode to the demon's lair. He found the demon asleep and whispered to his bride, "Come, mount, and let us flee." She asked, "What horse have you brought?" "A 6-legged one," he said. "Go back and get the 8-legged horse," she urged. "With this one we will be caught." But Leon insisted. She mounted behind him and they fled.
The demon awoke and swooped down like a whirlwind. He seized them and cried, "Shall I hurl you upon the mountain or cast you into the sea?" Because the demon's words were twisted, Leon answered in the opposite sense, "Throw me against the mountain." The demon obeyed by throwing him into the sea. Leon barely survived and crawled ashore. The next day he returned to the stone and asked for the 8-legged steed. The stone granted it. Mounted on that marvelous horse, they fled, and this time the demon could not overtake them. They reached home in safety.
They lived many happy years together. Then one day the fairy wife said, "When you see a white-bearded man arrive with a white donkey carrying a coffin, know that my life is at its end." Leon felt a chill at the omen. For many days he watched. At last a white-bearded stranger appeared with a white donkey bearing a coffin. The fairy wife fell down as if dead. The stranger placed her in the coffin without a word, tied it to the donkey, and departed.
Leon cried out in despair. For 3 days and nights he sat and grieved. On the 4th day he burned another phoenix feather. The phoenix appeared. That white-bearded man was her father, King Alaric of the fairy court, the bird said. Though to you she appears dead, she still lives. They have taken her back to the fairy realm. The journey to that land takes 70,000 years. You cannot follow. Leon refused to accept this fate. I will not give her up, he said. Help me. The phoenix showed him the path.
On the long road, Leon met 3 great demons who were fighting for treasure. They mocked him and said, "Bring us that prize, and then bring him and we will eat him." The items they quarreled over were an old flying carpet, an invisibility cloak, and a long-range bow that shot arrows 100 miles. Leon took an arrow, drew the bow with all his might, and fired. The demons ran after the arrow. Leon spread himself upon the carpet and pulled the cloak over his head. He fastened the bow to his waist and commanded the carpet, "Carry me to the fairy queen's gate." It obeyed and set him down at the door. When the demons returned empty-handed, they found no trace of the human.
Leon remained in the fairy court for several days while King Alaric did not yet know of his presence. Princess Rowena spoke to him alone. I am no longer bound by our earlier vow, she said. What will you do to win me back? Leon asked. How can I make you mine? She answered. My father keeps a saddled horse in the stable. Ride it in front of the house at dawn. If he speaks kindly to you, he will give me. If he speaks ill, flee. Leon accepted the test.
At dawn he rode the horse before the fairy king's hall. King Alaric came out and, seeing him, said, Young man, may good fortune guard and aid you. Leon returned the horse and went to Princess Rowena. What did your father say? She asked. He blessed you, Leon replied. The princess agreed to wed him again. King Alaric gave his daughter to Leon, and the court celebrated with a wedding feast that lasted 7 days and 7 nights.
Later, the king's relatives complained that they had been denied the bride. They demanded a proving task. If he can bring us the secret of the cedar tree, he shall be worthy. If not, he must end his marriage, they said. King Alaric set this task before Leon. Leon asked where to find the cedar. The king did not know. Princess Rowena warned him. If you go after this, you may never return. Leon answered, I must try. He mounted the flying carpet, donned the vanishing cap and the cloak, and set off.
When he arrived, he found odd signs, a dog with a golden collar and a donkey that ate bones instead of hay. The great cedar of secrets spoke in a low rustle. Prince Leon, I will reveal my secret only if you first learn the saddler's secret. Leon went to the saddler's house. The saddler demanded the weaver's secret. The weaver demanded the blind man's secret. The blind man, when found, asked that Leon give him his hand after he spoke so the blind man might cut off Leon's head. Leon agreed but said, First I will write down your words. He took out a pen and a notebook and told the blind man to speak.
The blind man told his tragic tale. Once he and his brother had been beggars and were separated. He entered the service of 3 young men in a house. They paid him well if he never asked questions. One night he followed them and saw them put a potion to their eyes and descend into a well. He drank the potion and followed. They entered a hidden garden where they read sacred books and ate fruit. When he returned to the normal road and removed the potion, he found he had become blind. From that day on he cursed anyone who showed him kindness. Leon wrote everything down. When the blind man demanded to kill him, Leon asked to pray. While the blind man waited, Leon spread the flying carpet and slipped on the cloak. He vanished. The blind man in sorrow died.
Leon took the blind man's secret to the weaver. The weaver confessed that 2 beautiful women came each evening to buy his best cloth and paid him well. Once he fell in love with the younger and lured them to spend a night in his room. She resisted, struck him, and left. Heartbroken, the weaver burned his fabrics each evening. Leon recorded everything. When the weaver moved to kill him, Leon vanished as before. The weaver died of grief.
Leon carried the 2 secrets to the saddler. The saddler said he made 4 fine saddles each day. A young woman came each night, paid and took them away. Once, because he lingered, she slapped him and left. She never returned. The saddler would have killed for the secret, but Leon escaped and the saddler died of sorrow.
Leon returned to the Cedar of Secrets and told it every secret. The cedar revealed why the dog wore a golden collar and why the donkey fed on bone. The cedar took Leon into a hidden chamber. From a chest it drew a thin green rod and touched the donkey. The beast became a beautiful maiden. The cedar told how it had slain 40 demons long ago, how it had been turned into a dog by enchantment, and how a butcher had beaten and scalded it until the butcher later recognized and cured it. These were old wrongs and older magics. At the end, the cedar asked to kill Leon for hearing its secret. He asked only to pray. He vanished once more by carpet and cloak. The cedar, bereft, died of sorrow.
Leon used the flying carpet to return to King Alaric's court. The fairy king was astonished at the secrets and at the courage Leon had shown. Leon opened the satchel he carried and presented the notebooks. The books contained the private secrets and confessions of the saddler, the weaver, the blind man, the cedar, and others. The fairy king read the pages with growing surprise and grave attention.
Moved by the truth before him and by Leon's courage, King Alaric restored his daughter to Leon. The couple was married again. The court celebrated with a feast that lasted 7 days and 7 nights. Thus Leon reached his heart's desire. By his courage, wisdom, and persistence he had overcome every trial and was reunited with his beloved. May everyone, by grace, find such a fate.